Oh, someone almost got it out. And he got it out. Yeah, woo. And everyone rejoices. All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Blitz5 and hope you guys are doing well. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about the remastered version of Miramar. We're going to be talking about the map. I mean, you can see it here as we're flying in. Some of the new features, new weapon, new vehicles, my overall opinion of it, and all that stuff. And this is actually a great gameplay to show that off because this is our first win on the new version of the map. So very excited to show this and post it onto my channel. Right now I'm playing with Andy and Burnsuave, two friends of the stream. And Andy, obviously, if you don't know him, works for PUBG and is a longtime friend. So we're playing, we have a random on our team. And just to let you guys know what's going on here, this is available on the PC test server right now and will be available live on PC on June 2nd. And then live on console on, I think, June 10th. And there's not going to be a test server for console, just FYI. So you're going to have to wait until then to try it out unless you have it on PC. And what's happening here is we had some random people jump into our vehicles with us. So we brought them to Crater Fields to get some guns and take them out because obviously they didn't have any weapons. One of them ended up being a friend from the stream, kind of stream sniping, playing a joke on the test server. So shout out to Dutch Gunner. And the other one was just completely random. It just was a coincidence. So to show off Miramar, I tried to put in some footage of us driving around. Coming from console, not really used to playing an FPP or driving an FPP, but man, driving on this map was so much fun. It looks so cool. It looks great driving around. And I actually thought this was hilarious. I included it because Andy is the bear, has the bear costume on. And I thought his little head peeking out of the buggy looked really funny. I actually made him get back in and we were laughing about it for a little bit. But in all seriousness, the new version of Miramar, I think looks pretty dope. Check this out. This scene driving behind Burn in the truck in front of me. Got the dirt kind of kicking up. And it makes driving feel, in FPP, the driving feels more action-packed, like more fast-paced, but then sometimes it's just really hard because you don't know what's in front of you launching over here in the jump. I mean, I knew I was kind of going full send there, but you really just don't know what's in front of you, and TPP kind of helps you out a little bit there. But when in Rome, FPP was the only option, so that's what we're playing with, and I'm totally fine. I actually really like FPP and probably prefer it, but again, this is just what we're used to on console. So anyways, was lucky enough to find the new motorcycle in this gameplay. Drove around on this a lot and the quad, and this thing is pretty sick, really easy to handle. This thing is absolutely awesome on Miramar, so you're definitely going to want to grab this if you have the opportunity to. The quad was really cool, but I did have some trouble kind of driving it at first. I flipped it over a few times. It's kind of easy to flip over in some of the crazy bumps when the motorcycle was just champing all of this stuff. And I would put it pretty much in between both of the motorcycles. It doesn't have as good as steering as a dirt bike, but it's better than the regular motorcycle, and it's just perfect for Miramar. And then coincidentally, we actually ended up at this compound, which is one of the few compounds that was changed. They added in a long building to one side, so it's not even that big of a change. But overall, Miramar is pretty much the same. It's just got like a new color palette, increased performance, and then they've gone through and just smoothed out the terrain and made this pretty much a better map overall, but leaving it at its core the same. So there was some speculation in the beginning that they could be maybe changing up to 80% of Miramar, that this would be potentially the biggest change to any map ever. But I think PUBG made the right decision here. They kept everything the same. This is kind of one of the original maps, and I think people want to see this remain the same. And then they can experiment with the other new maps that are coming out. And if you haven't heard, PUBG is coming out with other new maps. And if you want that information, you can check out other videos on my channel if you haven't heard it yet. But I think they made the right decision. They kept this the same. People are used to it. I think it's too much of a risk to change it. And they took a great map that I think has, some people loved it always. People like me, it took a while to grow on me. But once you appreciate Miramar, you learn that it's such a great map, especially in ranked and in squads. It's such a fun map to explore, and they just improved upon it. So I think that's great. But I think the jury's still out on what they did with the color palette. For me on PC, I thought the visibility was amazing. The graphics look great. I thought overall it looked more realistic. It looked more like a wasteland kind of desert area. It's supposed to be maybe like in the Baja California region, which I've been to before. And this looked better to me. But then there's also a little bit of haze going on that made some areas seem like I couldn't tell if it was cloudy or not, or less visible. Hard to say. And again, I don't know how this is going to translate over to console, but you got to play a lot more to figure all that stuff out. But at first glance, I thought that this change was great and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's honestly easier on the eyes to kind of play and spectate, but I want to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. And this could be a big factor for competitive scene because they spend so much time spectating on Erangel and Miramar. and Erangel had its remaster so long ago, and it's much easier to look at now. So hopefully that's the same concept for Miramar. And as we drive into our next location, I think actually we're going to be chasing a crate here. Probably a good time to talk about the new crate weapon that's only available on Miramar, and that is the Lynx AMR, which is kind of the new sniper rifle. It's the first 50 cal weapon in the game, and it only comes with 5 rounds, and it is being touted as the first and only gun to be able to shoot the driver in a BRDM. And kind of interesting. So it's supposed to be like a vehicle stopper. That's what an AMR stands for, kind of an anti-material rifle, I think is the name for that. And I was able to get it, not in this game, we get to the crate, but not in this one. And I found it to be a little underwhelming. It sounded exactly like the MK14, and I shot 2 guys at 500 meters, and it didn't kill them. It only did 62 damage each. So, I don't know what I was expecting. It's just, when I think of 50 cal, I'm almost thinking like 1-shot kill, but obviously that would not be fair in PUBG if someone's wearing like level 2 or 3 gear to be a 1-shot kill. It's just not realistic. But with only the 5 rounds and the hype of 50 cal, I was really expecting some big boom and like some crazy destruction, but it's not the case. And, I don't know how valuable it's going to be to shoot someone out of a BRDM because you really don't see that many BRDMs anymore. I feel like people use them less and less, but I do remember PUBG asking player feedback about the BRDM. So I was thinking we'd eventually see a BRDM kind of update. Could be something we see in the future. Maybe they're putting this gun in now to get ready for something like that in the future. Who knows? That's a lot of speculation. But again, you never know with PUBG. And right there, shout out to Controller on PC, getting a kill there in a clutch moment to save Andy and continue on the game. So we fast forward a little bit here. We made it into the top 15. We were back in the Murado. And actually, I forgot to shout it out. In front of me was the quad there. I don't get in it in this match, but the quad is there. Really fun vehicle. 2-seaters. Again, only on Miramar. I found it pretty easy to flip on some of the terrain. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but once I got the hang of it, and also driving an FPP is another factor that you're not used to, it ended up being awesome. And it accelerates and stops really fast, faster than the motorcycle. So the handling on it is sick. But you can't flip it over like a motorcycle. If you flip it over, you can't go up to it and hit X or F on PC, whatever the button is, to flip it over. So it's like part motorcycle. You can stunt on it, do all that stuff, but then you can't flip it over, and it's not as nimble as a regular motorcycle. So there you go. We got another care package here. Was hoping for the Lynx, but ended up being an MG3, so I didn't take it. So I'm going over my notes here, trying to figure out some of the different changes. I have that they actually added the jammer bag to Miramar, which is interesting. I know some people were kind of bummed about that, but I feel like Miramar and the bigger maps, it makes more sense to have the jammer bag because these are the maps where you might get stuck so far away from the zone if it shifts completely on the opposite end, like if you land Alcantara and the zone goes to prison. So I think it will play out okay. But obviously time will tell. Same thing with the Lynx. Like people are going to have to use these things more for PUBG to see like, okay, should we balance it? Should we add more of this, add more of that, take this out? And that's what's great about PUBG. It's an ever evolving game and this stuff is always subject to change. So you just got to view the core thing here and check out nice little snipe with a controller. Very nice top 10 situation here then. And also, what was I going to say about Miramar? Oh, the loot. I know people are really not happy with the loot. I don't like looting. I just want to get in the action, but I respect the Battle Royale genre and PUBG as a survival game that I don't think in casuals you want loot to be everywhere. So I've kind of accepted it now, even though it's not my preferred way of playing. But having that being said, there definitely was not enough loot on Miramar. And I think PUBG has already come out and said that they're going to tweak that. Something was up with the test server, but the loot was very, very low. We're talking like insane low. There's some games where I just could not find any heals or scopes, and you were really dealing with like a severe lack of loot. So that definitely needs to get changed a little bit. Hopefully it does, or people are going to be really disappointed, even though the map looks great and has some more color to it. And another thing I wanted to point out here is that in a lot of areas of the map, PUBG has added in a little bit more grass, especially on the southern area of the map. And it definitely makes the game look, or the map look, more realistic, but also easier on the eyes, because kind of did this with Vikendi. Vikendi was like all snow before, and then they added in some grass and some dirt areas, and people were like bummed that they got rid of the snow. But now that you play it more, you kind of realize that it makes more sense. And I feel like in a small sense, that's sort of what they did with Miramar here by adding in the grass, some more colors. It's not just that like one tone of brown everywhere. There's a lot of different colors. Even looking in the background here while I'm in the shed, it just looks really, really great, especially on PC. And there might have been some frame drops in this video. That's because I don't have the best PC ever, and I probably need to tweak some of my settings. But here we go. We're in a 3v1 situation. I got the AUG. This guy's stuck in the smokes. I actually thought he'd be kind of riding the smokes in, so I was just pre-firing, hoping to catch him. But he was actually to the left there, and we take him out for, again, our first winner chicken dinner on the test server. I don't even have any emotes, so I decided to do my own little dancing there. So definitely want to see what you guys think down in the comments below. I hope you have an opportunity to play this. If not, you're just going to have to wait a little bit for PC. And overall, this definitely gets my stamp of approval. I'm happy they kept it the same. And I hope that PUBG will use that, being kind of conservative here to test out some crazy stuff with the next 2 maps that we'll see in the following year. So as always, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and make sure to say subscribe for the latest and greatest PUBG and video game content. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.